A young person wants to be creative. They have a passion in them, and yet they aren't allowed to express themselves, and because of this, they end up in the party scene, they end up leading a life of crime, and their passion is never expressed. This is completely preventable. If they had been exposed to high school art education, maybe they wouldn't have ended up this way, and they would have lived a more beautiful life. My name is Eve Tuck, and I believe that it should be a requirement for high schools to have students take an art class in order to graduate. The trouble is that there is not enough support of art. Although most people believe it is superfluous, it should be included. As Eflin says, art improves the quality of life. So many wonderful things come from art. As Ziegfeld says, fine arts should have a larger place in general education than are usually accorded. Another cited work of Smith's agrees that art education is in danger. To quote, art education in the U.S. is defined by the unremitting struggles to sustain a reasonable purpose. Those are the words of Eisner. Smith also says the path of history shows that preserving art education is a necessity. Traditionally, one thinks of art being something sophisticated and high class, something that's not a part of everyday life. Yet, this book states that it used to be a lowly trade, considered to be easily done by anyone. Because of this, there are few tutorials or instructions for how classical art was crafted. Now, these ideas came from my source, Eflin. Although we do not have these tutorials and these techniques, one can still create art from their own mind. Although it is important to be exposed to these techniques and to have a base knowledge of the arts. Art educators know that they must play proactive roles in fighting for their right to educate in school, not reactive roles. This is a quote from Dorn. They know that they can't just stand aside and watch their programs crumble. They need to do something about it, and they need to take a stand, and so do you. Although most people might not say that art education is important, I believe that it is indeed relevant and necessary. Some things that people might use to battle my argument is that they would say art is useless, but those who struggle to gain academic recognition, says Smith, will find recognition in the arts. It's also sometimes regarded as a science to frame the mind, says Dorn. Numerous professionals agree that education in the arts should be a part of general education, and that is quoting Ziegfeld. Some people might believe that art education would be a hassle to save, that it's too much work. Although, art education complies with most school standards now, like testing and other requirements, and Dorn believes that it would not be problematic. The field has reformed their policies over the past couple decades in order to be more innovative, and it's proven to do fine as regular curriculum. The subject of art is now a usual part of curriculum, and the only discrepancy is over the preference of the mediums of which art is used, and these are also the words of Ziegfeld. People might agree that not everybody has talent, and therefore not everybody will enjoy the arts. Although Ziegfeld believes that the goal in making art a requirement would be to embellish the minds and the personalities of these children rather than perfect their skill. This isn't going to be like a trade school. This isn't going to be something to perfect a trade. It's simply to expose them to the beauty that art is. The solution is to save the art programs of schools. Eflin says arts are supported by patronage, and if people don't care about it, it's not going to happen. Art education's funding comes from the government. These are the words of Eisner. So why couldn't you go out and support the arts, especially the arts in high school? You'll help a student become more knowledgeable. This type of education can enhance multiculturalism in schools, and it encourages a positive self-image, a positive sense of self, if you will. Eisner also believes that it will help the student's social life. Art can influence social behavior in a big way. Everybody is connected by art. Lots of people love art, and it helps people understand people. Eflin agrees that the development of taste was a critical part of educating the child to become a more civilized adult. So support the art programs of public schools in your area. Encourage the children. Help the programs stay alive. Entertain yourself and have fun. After all, Smith says to keep a modern view of the world, one needs to be exposed to the proper materials.